everyone, it's Parisian Vibe. Today we decided to share our researched opinion on the current Louis Vuitton x Yayoi Kusama collaboration, which has sparked worldwide conversation and has received many mixed reviews. The campaign left many confused and made us question, shall we feel excited or terrified? Louis Vuitton and the collaboration with this famous Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama have utilised her iconic pop art dots and have created a unique collection. The pre-launch began in Japan and China where it was first dropped, but now can be seen globally. While walking down central Paris, you will see people gathering with their iPhones recording the windows of the Louis Vuitton flagship. In these windows, you can see a woman painting polka dots, behind the glass facing the audience. However, once you approach closer, you can see the person's actions are repetitive and mechanical. The artist's eyes would follow you individually as you approach closer to the glass and give you what some might call a scary stare. Only then you realise it is a robot. Another striking element of the campaign that is turning heads, or should we say raising them, is along the Champs-Élysées. A huge figure the size of the Louis Vuitton building itself grasps hold of the exterior walls. The famous bob cut provides realization that this is an inflated model of Kusama. The huge figure brings the building into an embrace, almost as if it is thanking Louis Vuitton for the opportunity to work with them. The enormity of this is hard to avoid, and with similar figures placed all over the world, it should be asked, why the necessity for all this grandeur? What has left people feeling confused is with the collaboration with the artist herself, due to the way her image is being used. But why is this an issue? The 93-year-old Kusama currently lives in Japan and has resided in a mental institution since 1973. She has had hallucinations most of her life, which has inspired a lot of her artwork, which is currently dominating some of the biggest capitals of the world. These capital cities have transformed into live theatres. With the size of the campaign literally taking over the buildings, it comes across as playful, artistic creativity, which Kusama emulates. But are we in awe with her or poking fun at her? Are we involuntarily being used as the audience to point and stare at someone who is mentally ill? Understanding Kusama's condition made many people feel uncertainty at this exposure, and we question, is it morally correct to expose someone who is mentally vulnerable to be potentially stared and gawked at? Furthermore, we assume Louis Vuitton got the permission for this performance, but is she capable of giving such permission for her image to be used? As the audience, this leaves us feeling confused about the appropriateness of celebrating her performative art and the artist becoming the spectacle herself considering her situation. However, this hyper-realistic robotic performance has encouraged excitement about the future of technology. For others, many are unsettled by the realistic nature of this display and how it makes them feel. Creepy, weird, scary, amazing. The future is here, are some of the few of the comments on social media used to describe the window displays and campaign in general. Having established herself in New York, Kusama was a notorious performance artist and wasn't afraid to stage protests against the Vietnam War, economic and gender inequality, and the extravagance of Wall Street. However, in 1973, Kusama returned to Japan to be treated for her mental illness, where she still resides to this day. According to her own statements, she suffers from bipolar disorder with psychotic symptoms, obsessive-compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, and has been experiencing hallucinations from a very young age. One day, I was looking at the red flower patterns of the tablecloth on a table, and when I looked up, I saw the same pattern covering the ceiling, the windows and the walls, and finally all over the room, my body and the universe. I felt as if I had begun to self-obliterate, to revolve in the infinity of endless time and the absoluteness of space and be reduced to nothingness. By noting Kusama's mental health, many have questioned whether the latest window displays in Louis Vuitton are tasteless. By creating a robot version of her behind a shielded pane of glass, in which she has repetitive actions and a lifeless expression, can reflect badly on how the mainstream media presents the ideology of mental institutions. Knowing about her hallucinations, the large advertising could be seen as showcasing her like an exhibit. We are not just observing her art, but we are placed in her overwhelming world, which she has described, fabrics would consume her and flowers start to speak to her. This can explain why some would feel uncomfortable, as we are no longer passive viewers of her art, but we are living in it. But is it just a clever marketing campaign? These actions tie very closely to the recent season of Emily in Paris. In the series, we see extravagant fashion designer Pierre Cardot as a hologram displayed in and around his stores. This is staged to be comical, and as a viewer we laugh at his inflated sense of self. Now, as we walk around Paris, seeing huge figures and robots of Kusama, we must ask ourselves, is this over-exaggerated marketing in Emily in Paris becoming a reality? Knowing the nature of Kusama's hallucinations and social media fondness of the metaverse, are we all living in a real or digital world? And are we so restricted in our real lives that we have no colour and seek escapism? Kusama used her love of performance and ability to see the world differently, to insinuate that their products free you to see the world differently. And this isn't the first time Louis Vuitton utilised this concept. 2023 is sure to see a resurgence in colour and dots. Regardless of the campaign, it is amazing to see an inspiring female artist and her work continue to be recognised as some of the greatest of our generation. But are we complicit by starting conversations and attracting attention to these dividing branding strategies? We would love to hear your opinion on Louis Vuitton's latest campaign. Feel free to comment down below. We look forward to seeing how this conversation develops. Thanks for watching.